Welcome, beautiful divine masculine and feminine darlings. This is the Seraphim Gem Gypsy, SeraFae Indigo Empress, and Shiloh Horizon. I don't plan to be here for too long, but I do have a little reading to share. Please remember to hydrate. Welcome. So first and foremost, let us grab one of these decks. Let's put them on the side. I'm just going to touch base and check on these energies really quickly. Okay. They want the person who's romantically interested in you, and they have energetic cords plugged into you. You know, I was just doing some cord cutting for myself a little while ago, actually. Also, I'm turning the light on. Watch your eyes. I'm not quite done. I've got 2 more to do, but I'll do those tomorrow. I hear thrice black honey. There's a karmic who's being weird and nitpicky. I'm just free flowing right now. I'm just channeling and letting things be. The other energy that came out here was random obstacles popping up for you, derailing your intended path or plans, issues that weren't there before, but that was in reverse. Right? And so they're being blocked off from doing this or being able to do this anymore. First and foremost, you have the moon roses over here, and then a little mushroom on there's lotion in my finger. It's still in there. Mushroom on a sunflower with a sun and a moon and the stars. And then little mermaid mushrooms, seashells, and mushrooms, and then 4-leaf clover. I must have gotten some polish on the tip of that. That's okay. I can fix that too. But then there's this one. A mushroom with moth and a little star. And this one, a little mushy with some ferns growing at the base. It's like in a starlit sky. That one needs a My evil eye with butterflies, starflower, and then last but not least, my little mushrooms. I'll do the last two tomorrow. Somebody said, let me guess, mushrooms. No. Good guess, incorrect, but nice try. So, these are people who are being blocked out. No, I would not do that. They're rocks. Probably wouldn't taste or feel very good. Anything else? Tell me about the baseline energies here. They're trying to use spell work to bring about misfortune. But it's because they're angry. They also, I notice, have been so unstable. They've been doing what they can to try to stir the pot, to instigate, to trigger. They want other people to feel the way that they feel. Yeah, this is why. They envy your persona and personality. So these may be people who are doing the copycat thing. I just got chills and then got caught, and called out for it, coming from compliments. So sometimes the evil eye is, say somebody's admiration of you, but then that admiration quickly turns into them feeling like they wish that was them, or they wish they were you, or something like that. And that's when it turns assy. That's when it turns into the evil eye. So it starts out as somebody just noticing something, gazing upon something, and then the intent turns negative, possibly out of jealousy. Yeah, see? They think the world should revolve around them, and it triggers them to think they have to share the spotlight. Narcissistic tendencies. They envy your children in pregnancy. Some of these people are going to have trouble in that department because they were being nasty in the same arena. And they're stuck in victim mentality, meaning they truly think they're the victim. They thought that they were entitled to take or do whatever they were doing or trying to snatch from people, and that was acceptable, but that it's a problem when people either don't let them set a boundary, take back what's theirs, or call them out for it, which is narcissism. Hating on your come-ups. Another reference is not to evil eye yourself. And one example of this is, let's say that you have somebody either just being nasty and jealous and hateful towards you, or you have somebody on the flip side. Maybe it starts out as admiration again. But either way, it's usually on the negative in this regard. Let's say that somebody tries to project an insecurity or says something negative. Rather than absorbing those thought processes from that person or their projected insults and starting to feel the way that they were trying to get you to feel about yourself, you stand in your own energy. Somebody says, how do you do that? Well, it requires really knowing yourself, getting to know yourself. But when you do that, it doesn't matter what people try to tell you about you when you know yourself and you know that they're wrong. Especially when people like that often don't even know or recognize or understand themselves. They're asking around about you. It's so pathetic. Because what I'm picking up off the cuff on this is they're asking people who either don't know the divine whoever they're asking about, or they haven't known them for a long time. So they either don't know what's going on, so they are giving old information or false information, or just making stuff up, whatever combination. They're trying to ask about you to people who don't know about you or are willing to just make things up to try to be relevant. Hating on your come-ups. There's a karmic who's upset. Some of them are in different energy, but like not so remorseful, I guess I should say, or even regretful in this note. But there's one who's realizing that they misjudged their target. And also realizing that that's why the slander didn't work. What rumors they were spreading were malicious and false. It was just slander. Even if they thought that they did pick it up from a credible source, it was coming from somebody who was making stuff up. And so basically they're crying, oh, that's why it didn't work. That's why all the nasty things about you that I said didn't stick. Right, because they were not true. Sounds like you were talking about yourself. Projection. Right, so random loss of opportunity after talking to someone about it. These are asking around about you. Yeah, this is why my light workers, a lot of us were called to be quiet about certain things, especially until we'd making fake social media accounts to interfere with your life. You've wounded their ego. Yeah. By telling them the truth. And so it's like, let's say that there's an toxic person who wants to get in your life, or they're super mad about this. Thank you. I hear that they're mad that they got cut off or cut out. Didn't we just call that? There they go with the fake accounts already. You just couldn't help yourself. But I really am psychic, and you're just not very smart. They're praying for your misfortune to bring about their own personal gain. Yeah, this is why you're getting, I just heard eczema. This is why you're getting breakouts, rashes. I just heard chicken pox. It might not be chicken pox. It might be, what is that, shingles or something? I just heard meningitis. Some of these people are going to be getting sick. Partially it's their karma. It's what they were wishing on other people. And partially it's because they wouldn't leave people alone. So they're going to be so busy trying to take oatmeal baths and slather lotion on themselves that they will not have the time or energy to harass us anymore. And that's part of their karma. Their lesson is to mind their own business and be more mindful of their schedule before somebody minds it for them. In this case, that would be God. Asking around about you. So as far as that, this is an op who maybe you won't let them around you, but they try to go around or butter up and suck up to people that they know or think do go around you. Or let's say, I keep getting something about parents. In some cases, let's say that this is somebody who you won't go around, but they try to suck up to your family or your parents for information. It doesn't have to be parents, but that's one example. On the flip side, maybe it's not your parents or whoever this family is. Maybe it's, okay, so there's you, there's my light worker. Then there's the parents or whoever this is. Then there's a friend of the parents or whoever that is. And then there's somebody who's friends with the friends of the parents of the light worker. So if the light worker won't deal with the karmic all the way at the end of the line here, then the karmic tries to either get in with the parents over here, or if they can't do that, then they go once further removed and they go to like a mutual family member of that family member of yours, and they try to get, I mean, so really it's like a game of telephone at that point anyway. And they're hoping that through this process that they can gain or garner information about you, real information. In some cases, again, these people don't know you. They're going off of either incorrect gossip or just outdated information that's not true. Or maybe never was. Divine Masculine says, so basically they try to get as close as they can. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, some people that were very dismissive for a while, for a few years, of the truth I was speaking, including calling out some gang crime, which is not a joke. There is an actual person in a gang who wears hats and t-shirts and hoodies with that gang logo plastered all over it. This is a gang that's known to not be very nice to women and children. And they're willing to gang up and work in a group, and they do, and they have, unfortunately. But one of these groups of people, I tried to warn them about certain people, partially because I was picking up the ugly in their spirit, but they don't like that truth. Yeah, see, also. I heard that. Oh, I wish you'd shut up, bitch. I heard that. These may be people involved in targeting you or your children. But I warned them that, first of all, they had absent-mindedly hired people that they shouldn't have, and secondarily, that it wasn't a safe or kosher environment. When I say kosher, I am not speaking about the Jewish reference. Sometimes I have people confuse that, so just to be clear, not that there's a problem with that, but that's not strictly what I mean. The term kosher does not simply just apply to Jewish approved items. On a larger scale, the reference of the Jewish kosher, meaning foods that are within their religious dietary requirements and restrictions. On a larger scale, that term can be used just to reference things that are good, they're safe, they're okay. Somebody does not have to be Jewish or even really understand this. Often when people say this, they don't even have a clue that it comes from a Jewish reference. Originally it does, but I'm referencing the broader spectrum of the meaning on this particular channel. So there's that, first and foremost. They're very mad. Yeah, see, watching your achievements and successes has made them bitter. And so these are people who were fooled by the matrix. They were in it. I saw the truth for what it was, and it didn't take a psychic to see that. I mean, these people were so confident and cocky that they were getting away with things. They were literally wearing the brand name of their criminal gang on their hoodies and hats on my property in front of my house to their day job. And so I mentioned, look, this is the situation. And the people who hired this group said, well, they seem really nice. I'm like, do you not know a thing about covert abuse? Have I taught you nothing? Are you that oblivious? Yeah, they seem nice. Yeah, they have to. Otherwise, you wouldn't hire them or give them the keys to your property. Fool. But now they've changed their tunes. Now those people are no longer around. They do not want them around. And they've been putting up security cameras because they realized I was right, and are in the process of putting up more. Because they realized I was right. After all these years of trying to be combative. You know, it didn't take a psychic to see that. I just saw through the facade. I saw through the fake nice, because their actions and behaviors and demeanor did not match who they really were and who they were being. Who they didn't want people to see that they were being. No, this is the same type of stuff that these people have said about myself and the light workers. I actually picked this up in a reading yesterday and then got another false flag type of attack, just harassment and slander. But the specific things I was picking up in the reading last night are the exact things that a karmic wrote out and tried to falsely accuse when I opened that up and found it this morning. So that's why all of that came up, even down to the fallen masculine energy coming out, because all of that plays into that. All of that ties into this particular karmic female. That's why she's attacking. Has been. Jealous. So crazy. But all of this came up last night, from they're trying to find some information to they're targeting attacks, the fake accounts. They just couldn't help themselves. They're just very impulsive, low vibrational, uncouth, certainly immature. They're not awake. They're not cognitively or spiritually activated people. They're obsessed with you. See, trying to do spell work. Also, I picked up the word I was looking for the other day. I was in the bath this morning, and I heard I'm listening, thank you. It's called an uncrossing. Yesterday I was picking up that there were karmics trying to do reversals, realizing that they shouldn't have been sending out spell work or something, and then trying to do reversals, but I don't do spell work. I couldn't remember the word. Resultantly, I knew there was like a specific word that they use for trying to undo a spell or reversing a spell. It's called an uncrossing. And I heard that earlier. That was that. So what they were wanting to do was cause money issues, blocks in money flow, because they thought that would, see, these are greedy people who don't understand that, first of all, there's more to life than money. Beauty's only skin deep, and money does not make the world go round. I mean, yes and no. It doesn't fix every problem. If it did, wealthy people wouldn't take themselves out. But They do, because money can't buy happiness or loyalty or real companionship. And so they're not happy with who they are, which is why they hate on other people. This is why these karmics are being stripped. If they were so focused on money, that's why they're suffering or will be suffering in that area, especially if they were trying to cause losses for others. They were so focused on beauty, especially if they claimed that they were superior to people because they claimed to have money or more money, or they, whatever the issue and situation, you know. They're very mad. I keep hearing thrice black honey. Also, I keep hearing Ordinary again by Alex Warren. Somebody's also asking what these karmics were doing and saying and what have you. They were, as prophesized, just trying to project their own shortcomings outward. These narcissists were calling light workers narcissistic, for example. They were trying to shame and shun the divine light workers and beings for their life purposes and like their hobbies or the things that maybe creative projects that are healthy for them or that help them heal, because they're jealous. Everything that they're trying to down and to take digs at and knock is everything that they've been jealous of and then also subsequently trying to copy. So they try to trash talk the light worker for being a certain way or doing a certain thing, but it's out of jealousy. And then as a result of it being out of jealousy, they immediately turn around and try to copy everything that they just were trash talking, because really they were trash talking out of jealousy. They wanted to be you and couldn't, so they decided to try to take you down a few pegs instead. Or me. Somebody says, what? They were trying to take knocks at my nails. I'm turning the light on, watch your eyes, because they're clearly jealous of the capacity that I have to do this artwork. Do you see? I heard, whoa, those are good. They were trying to trash talk. Yes. Not because it's not good. They weren't trying to say that it's bad. They can't say that. They were trying to make me feel bad for doing it. I'm like, what do you mean? No? Delusional. But it's just out of jealousy. I hear that. Why would they not want you to do their nails? Because they're jealous. They either wish I would do theirs or they wish they could do their own like I do. They also took digs at my dancing, not because they can't say anything bad, right? I'm talented and I know that too. But they were trying to shame me for doing it. Same thing with the spiritual references. Everything that they're jealous of, that they wish they could compete with or copy, or tried to and still couldn't. Now they want me to feel bad for doing it. They feel like they can't do it or can't compete. They can't do it themselves, certainly not the way I do, if at all. And so they just don't want me to do it at all. My light irritates their shadows. They feel like when I stand and I just be my own self, bright, shiny light, I make them look dim and gray and dark and dull, because they are. These people have just been trying to snatch the glitter off of a fairy and cloak themselves in it, calling them, I hear Yankee Doodle, stuck a feather in his hat and called him macaroni. Stupid. You know what that song's about? These fancy, these really, it was uncouth. These rich, or trying to appear as rich, often white people, white guys, showed up, colonizers, in a town, and they wanted to look cool and be fancy, and they decided they were going to set some kind of trend, so they stuck a feather in their hat and called it macaroni, which was the ancient history or old school history's way of saying cool. It's cool. It's so cool. Look at my swag. Look at my macaroni. I got a feather in my hat. Yeah, except they were looked at as stupid by everybody. Trying to be cool. I hear flexing for the gram before the gram even existed. Trying to, yeah. Pretty much. If you didn't catch that, that's how the karmics are looking now. Pretty stupid. Somebody says, what else? They were also trying to shame and blame victims for, metaphorically speaking, even bleeding after they've been going around cutting people, and how we choose to heal. They've been trying to deny the abuse happened at all. I heard that. So pretty much everything a narcissist does. Yeah, which is why I said it like I said it. Called it for what it was. Their cluster Bs are showing. So there's that. Watching your successes and achievements has made them bitter. And they're in not a great headspace. They're in some kind of anguish, mental and emotional distress. They can't hold on to grudges, though. Just keep yourself protected, myself included. I got you. Yeah, see, random indecision, feeling stuck at a crossroads. Not me. I know exactly what I'm doing, where to go, and how to move. Okay, this could be an X. Here it is, an X. If it's not an X doing this, if this is the person who's been, what did I just say? Recruiting people. Your light irritates their shadows. I told you. I'm psychic, not stupid, and I'm channeling. So they're not mad at me, or maybe they are, but really what they're mad at is the messenger. More specifically, they're not mad at the message, I was going to say, but maybe they are. Maybe they're mad at the message too, but they're really mad about where it comes from. They're mad at the messenger. No, of course they don't like this truth because they're being called out and held accountable, but even so, even if it was and is, because it is, viable information, even when it has nothing to do with spirituality, I'm just speaking basic science or stuff that there's historical fact of and documentation of, they'll sit there and argue, and have. They tried to tell me stuff about my grandmother, like basically that my grandmother wasn't there for my birth and didn't witness a doctor who was released from the hospital, forcibly resigned. He was given the option to be fired or resign, and he took the quiet resignation. But he was mistreating people, and the nurses went on strike. It was in 1992, and I've actually been thinking about this. Interestingly enough, this karmic brought this up today, but I've been thinking about it for 2 weeks, about going down to the library, because what this karmic doesn't know, while trying to say that I'm making stuff up, or I don't know what I'm talking about, or that my grandmother wasn't at the place she worked at the time I was born, when she absolutely was, you know, and didn't witness the things she actually witnessed, and all of this stuff, is that the nurses all went on strike when this happened. I live on an island. I grew up on an island. And so when the one hospital on the island has such an issue with a male doctor who's abusing women because he's in charge of the OB department, right? So in charge of the women's labor department, to the point that they all go on strike because it's so bad, and the one hospital on the island no longer has any nurses to work, yeah, that's front page worthy in a place like this. And so it did make the news repeatedly for a while. I even know people that moved to town during the year of 1992, and so they moved here for the first time when all of that was popping off. They remember it distinctly because it was going on when they moved. In fact, one of the people who told me that specifically was the person, or one of the main people, who has done the work for, who was it? The Rockefellers, all the Rockefeller Gardens and stuff. This is that person. He moved to town in 92, and that was just popping off. So distinctly remembers that when he got to the town that he still lives in, the year he moved here, that's what was the big issue. Now, what this karmic apparently also doesn't realize is that while they're being forced to eat their words, it doesn't matter that this was almost 33 years ago in 1992, 3622. They keep all of those newspapers. They keep copies of them, and they have it's kind of like an old computer system, but it's specifically for the newspapers to go through. And it was 92, so there are only 4 weeks in a month, and there are 12 months in a year. It won't take me that long. There's not that many weeks of newspapers to sort through the cover headlines of, you know what I mean, front pages of. It's not going to be hard or take me that long. But I find it pretty wild that they make these baseless accusations, calling me a liar, saying I'm making baseless accusations or just making things up, when I can easily go down to the library or the historical center and get record of what I'm saying. Or the medical center and get record of what I'm saying. Liar, liar, pantaloons on fire. You got caught, honey. Next. I just heard your whole house is on fire. Yeah. You said that I was wanted for all the fires you started. Yep. You said the house was burning down. I had to get out. You led the saints and sinners. You fed them lies for dinner. You knew the house was burning down. Arson, I just heard arson, so that sounds like arson to me. And I had to get out. Meaning they knew there was damage, they knew there was harm, and they didn't care. They tried to set people up in it. I heard projections, yep. Unexplained series of misfortunate events. So they're catching bad karmic fade. Random issues and repeated issues in day-to-day life. I heard that a karmic is panicking. They're saying, it's over, we're over, she's too calm. Meaning they feel like their spell work didn't work. There's something wrong with these people. There's a lot wrong with these people. Yeah, see, they're catching their return to senders. You shouldn't have been playing in things that you knew not the first things about, or frankly did not have the clearance, ranking, and authority to be touching. Oh, also, this karmic said, you're not royal bloodline. I'm like, really? Because my genetic coding and my family tree that I've repeatedly posted publicly begs to differ. And they said, you're not a nutrigenomics educator or a biohacker. I'm like, really? Because my IRS tax returns would also beg to differ. Yeah, and so would my cognizance of things like glutathione, for example, or oxidative stress.
catalase, superoxide dismutase. You want to try me, honey? Powerhouse of the cell. Do you know what a nucleus is? Shut your mouth. You couldn't even spell a proper sentence to me today. I don't want to hear anything you have to say. 4022. Asking around about you. I don't know. Digging for dirt. Digging for gold. You have better luck picking a wedgie, girl. I'm sure you'd find more in there. Go take a bath. I'm not giving you shit. See? Just crazy, obsessed, stalking, watching your every move. Now, some of these people don't actually mean intentional harm. It's not like they're all of them sitting there sending death spells and stuff, but some of them are just out of it. Straight up, they believe that they're right, delusional. And you know what's so funny too? This karmic was trying to insult me. You're not this grandiose person. I'm like, I never claimed to be that. First of all, and you're misrepresenting and using that word, grandiose narcissist. Your grandiose narcissism is showing. Your grandiose entitlement, sense of entitlement, and delusional belief system is showing. You're not grandiose, she said, trying to insult me, but what she accidentally said was, you're not a narcissist. No, I'm not. You are. But in between accidentally telling me that I'm not grandiose narcissist, she was trying to quote little psychology bits about female narcissists as if I didn't already post an educational video about that 4 to 5 years ago. Joke's on you, bitch. Yeah, cut off. Archangel Michael. Oh, you see, they're getting blocked. Why does nothing work out for me? Because your energy's trash, because you choose to be a trash person. You choose to try to play the victim in a situation you created. When you're not a victim at all, you're a perpetrator. You're a predator. Delays in money flow. So this is what they're going to be having. Also, if this is a karmic female who latched onto a masculine who fell, because that came out in the reading, forced its way out last night. Two things. Some of these karmics are chasing and they're mad because some of these masculines are not interested in them. Yeah, see? And they feel like it's because of Divine Feminine. Even if Divine Feminine doesn't want anything to do with either of them, she still has a fixation and an obsession. First and foremost, but yeah. .2:22 here on the clock on the East Coast. Let's shuffle out a few more, shall we? Feeling trapped. See, they're stuck. They're feeling stuck. They're feeling sad and upset and overburdened now, but that's what they tried to cause other people. And that other channel I picked up, if they were trying to cause health problems for Divine Feminine, it backfired on her and the masculine. And or let's say that they were trying to cause money problems for Divine Feminine. Guess whose pockets it hit? His. It will be. Because they weren't supposed to be doing that. Wild card. Yeah, a wild welcome. Let me reintroduce myself. Sometimes you have to slide your credentials across the table and remind them of who they're dealing with. Don't mind if I do. Break the cycle. You are the light. You can stop intergenerational behaviors. Yeah, we're not accepting this. So they got themselves stuck by refusing to grow, trying to entrap other people because they didn't want to grow. They felt like our growth outshadowed them, overshadowed them. They felt like our growth, we were growing too fast, or our growth made them look like they weren't growing or weren't growing enough when they should have been minding their own business on their own journey and their own timeline. That's like trying to compare and compete with, let's say you've got two students doing math. One's a first grader and one's a 12th grader. Which one do you think is going to get done their addition and subtraction equations first? Probably the 12th grader. Can't compete where you don't compare. And you don't compare, karmic. I just split the deck on gratitude. Anyway. Yeah, you are a bitch. It's Mrs. That bitch to you, honey. I forgive you for being a clown. But I'm not taking your attacks and insults, bird brain. Ooh. See? She was just full of it. This is another one of those copycats. They even copy, I mean, really everything. But even the about me's and descriptions and little quotes and stuff on the headers of a Facebook or something, like, it's just nothing original. It's just basic and boring. Pick Misha. In case you didn't catch that, I'm calling her a pick-me bitch. Because that's what she is. Oh, she's mad about that one. I'd rather be picked. But you're not, though. You're not. You don't even like yourself. You have to try to fake to fit in, and you can't be authentic. Ew. I don't want to say that, what I just saw, but that was a little funny. I'm not saying that out loud. Let me reframe this a little bit because they are wanting me to speak a little bit on this. Let's say that somebody's not comfortable with their body. They feel like they can't take their corset off around their boyfriend, or like some kind of, what is it called, shapewear or something? Yeah, something like that. Or I just heard, what is it? Skims. Somebody's probably doing that. Anyway. Or, this was the weird part, gross part for me. I'm like, ew, dude. But anyway, she's not comfortable around a person, her boyfriend or something. Like, she's always got an image to maintain. There was something about her body too. Gaslighting. And that's what the psychic attack energy was today. See, they tried to send that out. They wanted to spin the narrative. They wanted to try to trigger victims either into reacting. They also wanted to try to gaslight. Right? Every single lie and every single slander and false accusation that has been thrown over the last 10 years, pretty much what they did was just document it in a 4-page letter and then sent it to me. But they confessed in it to working as a group. So that's criminal conspiracy. And it was very poorly written, disorganized. There were some points of it where it was worded as if it was directed towards me, like being spoken or written towards me. But then there were points of it where she was clearly jotting down notes as she sat there gossiping about me with other people. I'm like, imagine how many hours or days it took them just to write this, dude. Those are 4 pages of bullshit. All of it slander, all of it easily fact-checkable, and frankly, I'm glad they did that because it's evidence for me. It's forcing investigations now. Which is funny because that's exactly what they tried to slander. Nobody's listening to you. We can do whatever we want. The police are laughing at you. Blah, bitch, they're not anymore. They're laughing at you. And frankly, a lot of them aren't laughing because they see now how serious the issue is and they're coming to get you, collect you, put you under the prison, or frankly, buckle up in a 5150. 5022 on the count. That's what's happening. Because that's what you were trying to do to other people. They sat here acting like belligerent, crazy people while attacking me at my house, at my home address, to call me crazy. They didn't think that it was a stretch to come all the way over here and cross my boundaries, or that anyone on the outside looking in with a fragment of rationality in their head and a couple of brain cells to rub together would look at that as insanity. But they thought that they could gaslight me into thinking that I'm crazy for speaking up about their criminal enterprise. And recidivism, for starters. Insanity. But anyway. So since it's coming up on my board, gaslighting. See, they're full of themselves. Just full of garbage, full of hot air. Airhead, bird brain. Not very smart. See, I know. I'm talented, I said. I know. Yeah, and I told her, you need to get help. You need professional psych help. Okay? Yeah, the darkness. People try to disturb the peace. Divine Masculine, or a few people coming through. So basically, they're saying they just went down a list of insults to try to berate you. Yes. Projections and false accusations and just a lot of it. 5222. But they were also trying to make you feel bad for doing the things that you're best at, living your life purpose, being creative. Yes, because they're jealous. Projecting their nasty things onto me because they don't like themselves, but then out of jealousy trying to shame me for dancing or doing art or healing. Really, that's what it is. Trying to sit there also and judge the healing journey or how it goes or how long it takes or something while they're not healing, while they're causing injuries to people. So they're not equipped, they're not qualified. Also, I've showed your videos to all these different people and all of them say, yeah, what qualifications do any of you have? Because my neuropsychologist says you're nuts. And I showed her all your comments and all your bullshit. And I showed her my channel too. And I told her I'm a psychic medium. And sat with them for 9 hours of testing. Why? Because I knew that at the end of it, if I was crazy, I could get the help I needed, but I'm not. And I knew that. More specifically, I knew that I could have a medical professional verify that after sitting with me for almost a full 12-hour day, doing almost 12 hours of testing, that I was not any of the things that they were saying, but they are very abusive and injurious. And there's a difference, and I can prove that. Neuropsychologist is the highest level of doctor qualified diagnostic care that you can get, right? If you want somebody that is like at the top of the field and can diagnose all the little different things and figure anything out, that's a neuropsychologist. Therapists and counselors and licensed clinical, etc., like their ranking, their medical degrees are all lower than a neuropsychologist. So no. Divine Masculine, I hear a few light workers. So basically you put everything out on display and could prove what you were talking about. Yes, but they can't do that. They hide and they still expose themselves. And if they were honest, well, point proven too. Frankly, I think if they were honest with themselves and other people, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. But they're not, so we are. Another thing. You take pleasure out of other people's pain. No, I don't. See, they're mad that I'm a Heyoka empath, and I give these people back their own energy. They don't care that they're spitting fire and daggers at other people, but when people dare to shield themselves and that stuff bounces back, they find it so offensive. They find it so offensive when their own energy returns to them. Maybe don't be like that then. Maybe don't do that. You don't like you either. You think we want you? Pfft, get real. Foolish. Yeah, no divine connection. Which is funny because that's what they're claiming. They also claim that I'm a fake psychic, which is laughable. Considering I called the police and told them about the dream prophecy I had a week or two ago, and specifically about these incidents that have been going on the last week, a couple of days. I warned the police that they would be coming before they came, and then these people proved my point. It all played out the way I said, so not crazy, am I? Just highly psychic. You reported the dream prophecy to the police? Yes. Because at this point, I know better. What it was about was that these people have been trying to kill me. That particular one. And they have been in real life, so I knew if I was getting dreams about it, that they were trying to up the ante or were about to, and then they did. Just as I warned. Yeah, because I'm psychic. I don't have to hide anything. But they're stuck in their karmic cycles because they chose to repeat the bullshit instead of breaking anything. Yep. They need help. You need help, dude. Targeting light workers and you want to claim your anything but repulsive. Come on now. Yep. So no matter, see, they exposed themselves. They ran their mouths. Be careful about what you say about someone. Is it the truth? Now they're trying to say that I'm not being honest, but everything I've been speaking I can prove factually. Just because you slander someone for a long time or a bunch of people repeat the lies does not make it true, does not mean it was ever true. Just because somebody went and lied to a judge or lied and perjured themselves through a court of law or did things like, illegally hire their family members to be their attorneys, which is a conflict of interest, specifically so that they can have their domestic abuse conviction records, meaning the records that show that they've been to jail for abusing the same victims. They're trying to hide those records to ask for permission to go back around. Yeah, no, that's against the law. It's called inculpatory and exculpatory evidence. If you hide information that you think makes you look bad, well, you forfeit. That's manipulative and you lost the case. Ruling will go in the other person's favor. If you only tell information, cherry picking, that you think makes an opposing party look bad, but you leave out the parts of the story that show that it's really innocent. Similarly to how you leave out the parts of the story that show your guilt, yeah, you're guilty. Anything that was gained in a court of law, any monetary gain, anything, access to children, custodial rights, or anything, that all legally has to be overturned. That's what happens. It's a forfeiture. It's an automatic forfeiture. And then there are damages that have to be paid out. So not only do they lose whatever they gained, it costs them more than they thought that they were going to gain. So there's that. The law of attraction is here for the light workers. And we're manifesting away from these toxic people and situations. We have been. New job, new home, stability is here. This isn't necessarily a new job or a new home for some people. Could be an upgrade in a job or home environment, or that you've just removed some kind of toxic aspect out of the equation. Hugs. Yeah, so there's healing happening here, and also being mindful about what you put into your body. There's balance here, divine masculine and feminine. Anything else? Yeah, these people are not sorry. They're still doing nasty things. I hear that, though. It is a divine masculine, and he's saying something about the contents of the letter. So everything that you've been prophesizing, even down to the false accusations you've been picking up over the last week or two that karmics have been slandering behind the scenes, is everything that they wrote out and then put in your mailbox this morning. Yeah. Meaning I was, in fact, picking up their slander and telepathic stuff on that. In fact, I even sent a few text messages out to somebody speaking about this earlier this week, and one of the main topic points that they referenced in this was that one. So they didn't do what they thought they did. They did prove my point. Get you the help you need. You need help, karmics. Gaslighting. You're mentally ill. The darkness. So there's one aspect of the Heyoka, and that's the mirroring. I hear super empath. Yep, so even above that, in fact. Very Sigma energy. Also, when I say Sigma, I don't mean that whole weird viral slang terminology that a lot of, I think it like younger, I think it was a TikTok thing or something, I don't know. Kids. Like some teachers were even having to ban those words because the kids just wouldn't stop saying weird thing like skibbity toilet riz or something. What those things, you know what I'm talking about if you know. I'm up here on the counter now. Chilling. But weird. Just weird. What is toilet riz? Don't get me wrong, I know what they're talking about when they say riz, but it's just very strange conceptually. Anyway. So they're upset. I'm listening, thank you. Because they thought it was so funny to hurt people. They thought it was hilarious that they were causing problems or that other people were causing problems. And so they were intentionally trying to create pain or laugh at other people's pain. But when we turn around and make a joke about the fact that they're being abusive and pathetic in doing so, they find it so offensive. They don't find it offensive that they were hurting people and bullying them or making fun of them. But when you make jokes about the fact that they don't even have anything going with their life, for example, other than the fact that they're a bully, I'm like, really, this is what you do with is this your hobby? How long did it take you to write that 4-page letter and then drive all the way to the mailbox, the postal office, and then I mean, it must have been an effort, maybe at least a few days worth of a job, right? That's a lot of effort, man, for that. Didn't work, did it? Didn't have the effect that you wanted it to, did it? I told you. I've been abused since the day I was born. The doctor who delivered me nearly killed me. I was then sent up to Frenchman's Hill, unfortunately, and was abused in a variety of ways, including sexually. They also took statements like this out of context and filled in blanks that I never said, and like they're just making things up that they thought sounded good in their delusional heads while calling out everyone else delusional. But back to the main point, I slightly digress. I escaped that childhood abuse, but then ended up reliving it with a narcissistic person and then a sociopathic person from that point, absent-mindedly, because it really wasn't much different than I'd experienced growing up. Left those abusive situations to keep my daughter and I safe. Ended up being happy with my safe space, Mr. Meeker. Only for the same people who were targeting me to turn around and bully him to death. So they were mad that we wouldn't deal with them, and they tried to murder my protector. It's called manslaughter in a court of law, by the way. We still have the racial hate crimes documented, in fact, but nonetheless, as a result of this, you cannot hurt my feelings. Certainly not the way you thought you could, and definitely not the way you wanted to. But I see that you tried. Didn't work out for you, did it? They thought they were going to flip the scale. They thought they were going to project all their nasty, dirty little things at me, and that I would just take the victim blaming and shame that they were trying to force. No, it's not mine, that's yours. You should be ashamed of yourself. I have nothing to be ashamed of. For what? Telling the truth? You're the one trying to conceal it. 6722. Come on now. So there was that. Stated in this, you're just mean, basically. You take pleasure out of other people's pain. No, I stand here because I'm a healer. I stand here and I speak. I stand here to help keep my collective going after being oppressed and targeted by people like that. Gratitude, yeah. Wild card. So we don't deal with their nonsense. Go where the love is. Right. And they found it so funny to cause pain or harm to others or try to take pleasure out of other people's pain. But they don't find it very funny when, again, I turn around and I make a joke about it to make light of the pain that they were causing. They don't like it when I alchemize the trauma they were trying to create. In whatever variation. I hear turning bullets into butterflies. Yep. That is correct. In fact, let's go through some of this, shall we? just horrible grammar and punctuation and spelling in this too. And so towards the end of this, like I said, this is a group of people who got together and claimed to do this. And she went from trying to address me directly. In the bottom, you can see where it looks like they frantically were just jotting down a bunch of lies. But the way that it's worded is she goes from trying to speak to me to suddenly talking about me. And it's like she was writing down, while sitting in a group, slandering me, trash talking me, she was writing down all these different nasty, slanderous things. I see it. A couple of them were in a group, and I've seen this before. People have done this for years. But a couple of people in a group, and then they'll just go back and forth, spitting out whatever gossip and lies and building on it, whatever they think sounds good to make themselves look good or make other people look bad. But it's that kind of an energy. And again, she goes from speaking to me as if I'm talking to you right now. Hi, how are you? This is what you're doing. Like, she went from speaking like that to me, that kind of a direct communication, to sentences that were not supposed to be in there or were not supposed to be worded that way. I don't think she intended for them, but it was just so poorly written and not proofread, and it was just bad. All full of lies anyway, but then also just poorly composed. Okay, so look, let me... she goes from talking to me directly and threatening to have me falsely arrested for speaking the truth about this, falsely accusing me of lying, which I can prove that I'm telling the truth and they're not, actually, factually with evidence, but tried to, while falsely accusing me of lying, threatened to have me falsely arrested for telling the truth with evidence, I might add. And that's a crime. That's witness intimidation. She's going to jail for that. Especially given the fact that this is the person who's been directly involved with the hacking and long-term stalking me. Also because she's in a different state doing this, and it's crossing state lines. It's violating a number of jurisdictional laws and issues. It opens it up into a much bigger case. And so she says, if you keep telling the truth, she's saying it's not true, which is false, you'll get arrested again. Meaning, if you don't stop telling the truth about us, I'm going to lie and try to have you falsely arrested. I'm going to try to set you up for whistleblowing because I don't want to be painted as the criminal I am, she said to me. And then the next sentence is, at this point, it's a really laughing joke. It's really a laughing joke to see what she's up to now and who she's targeting today and going to serve another lawsuit. So she goes from trying to talk to me to the very next sentence of talking crap about me. But in the very beginning, actually, no, it might be over here. Hold on. I think it's in the beginning. Hear this. You just caught all the lies. Yeah, this is just a brief summary. There's more. I'm not even going to get into it all. They're just not worth it. But I wanted you to see how stupid they are and prophecy fulfilled. We are writing to you as a group to help you see and understand what you are doing and help you. You need help. What I'm doing is telling the truth about the crimes you've been committing publicly. Because you know what one of these karmics came back at me with earlier? You made me look bad after I called this out and was whistleblowing on this with evidence to show that this was bullshit and I'm telling the truth. You made me look bad. No, you made you look bad. Look at what you tried to do to me. I just didn't help you hide it. There's a difference. You didn't have to expose it. You didn't have to do it. Uno reverse. Learn your lesson. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. But it was legitimately 4 pages of BS. And what I'm reading it, because it's actually on here. I took it here to send it to the police earlier per their request. And I didn't actually have copies of it transferred yet over to my laptop. So what I did was I just pulled up the email from the police really quickly. And read that off to you. Pieces of it. It got worse. Very belligerent. Tasteless. Thought they were doing something. Nothing but showing me that they're far beneath me. You care so much about your appearance. You're so vain. I'm like, bitch, I'm in my pajamas right now. Okay, I'm wearing my husband's pajama pants and a t-shirt. What the fuck are you talking about? My hair's in a bun. What do you mean? What do you mean? You're vain. You're so vain. I'm telling you, this song is about you. Ew. You know? Got a bobby pin in there somewhere. You need psych help. You know? I know. I do need my hair out of my face, so that's why I was up. What's wrong with you? I was wrong about you. You're in your pajamas. Who's vain? And I wasn't even going to come on screen tonight. I don't need to be seen. You do. 4-page letter. You made a point to ship all the way from North Carolina. You want attention. You want my attention. Because I blocked your fake accounts last time. I blocked your accounts last time. You're psychotic. Seek help before it seeks you. 5150. Thank you very much. You need it. Crazy. And they thought I was. It's not normal for people to have this many stalkers. Oh no, it's not normal for people to gang up and stalk in a group like you have been. But being a targeted individual, yeah, that's a real thing. You wouldn't have harassed my mailbox this morning if it wasn't. In a self-admitted group. Gang stalkers. After fulfilling the dream prophecy I warned the police about before it happened. So, who's the joke? Not me. It's on you, and you're the butt of it too. Cheers. Are you done yet? Because we've had enough of you. I'm just getting started. They're going to put you under the prison. Okay. wish I hadn't done that. Yeah, I do too. I had other things I would have rather spent my day doing than having to report you to the federal government. But that's the bone you decided to pick. You decided to bark up that tree, and so you shook some apples loose. How do you like them apples? Aphrodite. Don't come barking up my apple tree. The giving tree? I see and hear the giving tree. Who is that by? It's not Roald Dahl, is it? No. Shel Silverstein? I think that's possibly that one. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I just heard Shel Silverstein. I love those books. I think I might still have that one, actually. Where the Sidewalk Ends? Is that what it's called? I think so. Heard. Sounds familiar. I have that one somewhere. I did. Growing up. I think I still do. In the library. Somebody says, how do you know? How do you not know? Because my library is pretty huge. I don't even know how many books I have. I haven't counted those, but I've got about 500 decks of cards over there, so. No, to be clear, I know what cards I have, which is why when somebody stole a deck or two, I noticed. Brittany. Which ones did she steal? A freaking angel deck at that. And they wanted to claim to be spiritual and also claim that I wasn't. Bitch, you're stealing angel oracle cards. What do you mean? Yeah, it was crazy. Oh, and then you think you're going to get any kind of good reading with a pack of stolen angel cards? Okay, crazy. Yeah, we saw how that one was going to play out for you in advance, didn't we? Didn't I warn you about that? I did. In advance, repeatedly. Divine Masculine says, she's exasperated with you. I'm so sick of this shit. Yeah, but it's ending, so that's fine. It's about over. Why did I do that? Because you thought you'd get away with it, little loser. Thought you wouldn't get caught. We established this last night. You ask it all the time. But it's not actually, they already know the answers. They're not actually learning anything. It's a, woe is me, I'm so stupid, why did I do that? Kind of a question. It's not a genuine like, gee, why did I do that? They know. They're being impulsive and selfish. And so do we. No. Reckless. In some cases, it was a long con. It's a terrible choice, but they still tried it. Anyway, a few more cards popped out while I was shuffling. Hit the Griffin. So speaking of, whatever comes knocking at your door, the angels will help you handle it. There's that. That makes sense as to that last channel. Then the veil is thinning. Be open to receiving light codes from source. The light is more powerful than the dark. Okay. So this is why all their stuff's being exposed. I'm getting the hiccups. There may have been some tense energies. Did you lose your cool? Did you... That's what it says. Did you lose your cool? Everyone has... Even good people lose their cool. Meaning, maybe you were upset that somebody was being combative or problematic and you clapped back at them. Take a breath. Hit the meditation mat. But also, in my case, they deserved it. It's called a clap back. Don't give me anything to clap back to and you won't have a problem. Don't start none and there won't be none. Ladies don't start fights, but we can finish them. And that's what I'm doing. Thank you very much. So this is going to be capping this energy. It says, spend less time taking out or playing out the drama and trauma on the 3D. So there's a reference of a gray rock method or zero contact. This is about elevating and ascending away from above these karmic energies. Yeah, see, and you know what? In the police email that I sent out this morning, twice, I mentioned this twice at 2 separate points in the email. Foxes in the hen house. Hen house. Foxes in the hen house. Meaning that you've got light workers taking care of their chicks and their eggs and in their little happy environment. And then you've got these foxes trying to eat the chickens and steal their eggs. In this reference, it could be target divine feminine and mess with their kids, or target divine feminine by messing with the kids, using them as leverage, which is a form of abuse. We've seen that too. But a few months ago, I believe, I heard, actually it was one of these police officers having a conversation. So I just repeated in an email what I picked up the conversation was a few months ago. There are foxes in the hen, they were talking about me. There are foxes in the hen house and they've been trying to, I forget exactly what the terminology was, but something about take her out for squawking. So meaning they're karmics who've wolves in sheep's clothing trying to force their way around light workers. And they're bullying divine feminine because she's speaking up about it. She's squawking, right? The chicken is squawk. There are foxes in the hen house. And they're trying to kill her before, let's say, the farmer hears her squawking and comes to rescue with a shotgun. Hallucination put out a new song this morning. I caught it 23 minutes after they published it, and it's called Sharpshooter. There's a reference to that too. In this particular case, the same people who pulled the little mail stint and have been doing the stalking and harassment online and off, oh, they're so mad. Yeah, I just heard bounty hunter. They're all connected to the same conglomerate. I wish I hadn't done that. They're scared. Can you get them out of my energy? Thank you. I just don't care. Thank you. I love you. Ooh, it's hot now. Archangel Michael. That card did come out. I love you, bro. I'm a little toasty now. I love you. Thank you so much. Michael just called you a Jezebel. Karmic. I'm going to sit on that last channel for a second. So they're dealing with consequences now. They've been caught and seen for who they really are. The divine saw everything. Things are finally looking up. Things are changing for the positive. Also, as these cycles were closing out today, I caught 11:11 on the clock, and then also 1:11 on the nose on the 11th. Today's the 11th. So 11:11 on the 11th, and then 1:11 on the 11th. And the chakras, sorry, that was a bit loud, are aligning and balancing, or I guess I can do some work on that before I go. Yeah, living on the edge. Carry on my wayward son, don't you cry no more. Hurt. Living on the edge. Yeah, the rise of the divine feminine. Just heard flying by the seat of her pants. Your pants. Somebody was. You know, I also heard don't mess with the status quo. Again, over the last couple of days, it's that High School Musical song. And this is in regards to these karmic people trying to toe step, trying to force themselves or fit themselves into arenas or lifestyles that are just not for them. Stick to the stuff you know. Like, stop trying to pretend to be spiritual just because you see a divine feminine doing it. Stop trying to step on somebody's toes just because you think that it looks lucrative or looks like a fun thing on the outside when you do not know the blood, sweat, tears, challenges, responsibilities, and heavy weight that comes with all of it. The tests, the lessons, you don't understand, nor could you handle it, nor would you want to if you knew that it came with more than just the appearance of shiny jewels on the outside, you see. Heavy is the head. They're not equipped. Too big for their britches. But yes, all of these people are connected. From the local incidents otherwise. I heard that. And you don't have anything to do with any of these people? No, I don't. And they're just mad that you speak the truth? Yeah. But they could have stayed out of my life and I wouldn't have anything to talk about in that regard. I'd have better things to talk about. Okay. God's giving an analogy. Imagine, okay, life is like a highway, the lessons of life, the journey of life, but imagine you're actually on a road trip and you're chatting in the car, you're listening to music, and then all of a sudden there are exit ramps and turns and things like that coming up, and you need to know exactly where to go, how to shift. So you turn the volume down on the music and you stop chit-chatting about whatever sports games or whatever things are being discussed in the car. And everybody focuses on the map and making sure that the driver doesn't miss the turn. It's like that. Except we're not talking about a highway. In this case, we might have been doing other things. Like I started doing love readings when I first started coming here. And I still do those. But then these people started, out of jealousy, attacking. And then they just kept increasing. And it became worse and worse until what was more predominant, what was more important, what there was more of was this toxic energy they were projecting. And so that had to be dealt with first. I'm seeing something else, like let's say you've got a cup and you know it's got some chemical residue or poison in it and you want to drink some water. You don't just go fill the cup that has poison residue in it or chemical residue in it or even soap at minimum and drink it. You make sure it's properly washed first or you get a new cup. That's what's happening here. Except we're not talking about cups either. You see, choose foods wisely. These people don't. Drugs and alcohol, poor eating, and then they drink too. No one is perfect, so give yourself a break. Do not internalize the gaslighting. Thank you. I should split the deck. Look. Gaslighting. It's in reverse, though. We're not tolerating it. Anything else? I think we're done with this. I heard that. Sounded like the coyotes. Oh, that's an owl. Did you hear that? No, some of those might be coyotes, but I definitely heard an owl too. I don't know if you could hear that. I didn't really want to open the door. Whoops. Interesting. The Rise of the Divine Feminine, though, is the card that was here. So nothing that they tried to do worked. Thank you, that's a good idea. And did fall short. There's a karmic panicking. They're saying, we're going to go to prison for what we did. Yeah, you are. I don't understand how she's so calm, because I know what's going to happen to you. It's not what you thought or wanted. I'm missing a color. Hold on. A vision in my head. Just have to match the colors to it. I think it must be back here. There it is. Sorry, that was loud. No. This one. Right? Yep. Thank you. What are you doing? Shh. Nail polish. Getting it ready. I got the vision. Now we're prepared. Heard that. I'm so sorry, honey. I'm so sorry they did that to you, honey. I really appreciate that. It's not been very nice. These people aren't very nice. They wonder why I don't want to be around them. Or why I wouldn't let my child near them. Gee, I wonder why. All right. In case you didn't catch that, I was definitely being sarcastic. Not that it should take a genius to figure that out, but they're definitely not very smart. So in case you were confused, now you're not. Mm-mm. Some of them still are. You know why? Two things. You can't just expect a sociopath to wake up tomorrow not being a sociopath, but sometimes when we speak the truth, they're just that delusional that they can't accept it. Their brains can't grasp it. Sometimes because they project so much, I hear poker face, they automatically assume that since they're not honest, that other people aren't either. They're always looking for the motive, the underlying motive in other people, because that's what they're constantly plotting on other people to do. So since that's what they're always doing, they expect, I guess, everybody else to be that way or think that way. No, normal people don't do that. What you're doing isn't normal. Okay? What you're doing doesn't work for you or anybody. What I'm doing works for me. I also help a lot of people in the process. But I hear copying me isn't it for you either, because it works for me when I'm following my divine life path. It does not work for people trying to copy. It works for me because I'm being authentic. The second you start trying to copy, it's inauthentic. It's not real. It doesn't match the frequency you're trying to pretend to emit. Also, these karmic people, I'm picking up something about they're toxic. They try to present themselves as if they're not, but then if a light worker has an emotion that's not sunshine and rainbows, which is normal, right? If you're always sunshine and rainbows and you can't even speak about or address the other side of the emotional scale, that's toxic positivity. I don't know why these people are trying to talk about that or bring that up. They're toxic. You just take pleasure out of other people's pain. No, I find ways to laugh about the pain that you've been causing us. You thought it was funny to hurt us and laugh at us about it, but you don't think it's so funny when I make a joke about what you did? Come on. Okay. You're being mean. What? Because your bullying tactic didn't work and I laughed at you instead of having my feelings hurt. So now your feelings are hurt. Maybe you shouldn't try to bank your self-worth on trying to hurt people's feelings then, you psycho. But that's what they do. When somebody like that is trying to cause harm, like they wake up and they hate themselves, they hate their reflection, they hate who they are. So they try to copy other people and or they try to take digs at people that they're jealous of. No. Crazy. As if it's toxic for us to stand up for ourselves, but it's not toxic for them to give us a reason to need to. Delusional. Hello, welcome. Just chilling, packing a bowl, getting ready for bed. Did my nails. Got 2 more to finish up, but I'm gonna wait to do that. I guess I could do it now. Could do it here. I have the stuff out. I don't really want to. I'll do it tomorrow. Cheers. Does anybody want to pack a bowl before I smoke? I'll wait for you. I stopped doing that. Things got so heated all the time. But I'll hold a little meditative space if you want. How are you guys? Good, I hope. I know there have been some trolls and fake accounts in the comments lately, but I also know that they're real people, good people coming through. I'm so sorry. We misjudged you. Oh, did you? You're just realizing that? Took you long enough. Stupid and foolish. Not as in the fool, no new beginnings for them. The tower for them. I see the death card for them. Not good. But you reap what you sow, don't you? Heart, I'm so sorry they did that, and also they're going to get it. I know they are. Criminal charges, facing criminal charges. You know what I've also been picking up the last couple of days? That there were, oh, they did say that, didn't they? They wanted to have people falsely arrested. They were trying to set up light workers for speaking up. Which is also why I've done the speaking up, to counter and combat that. It's hard to set people up when they're publicly whistleblowing about the fact that you're trying to set them up. So that's why I did that. Because everybody's watching at that point. Sometimes watching me. Foolish. Still feel like this energy needs to be cleaned out. Let's do some Reiki for those who would like this. I hear Overdose by Honest Av. Speaking of honesty. We're good still. Sounds, I don't want to hear them. I mean, if necessary, I get it, but good grief. They're just spinning out. Thank you. If it's just the same stuff, I don't need or care to hear it, you know? I appreciate the heads up, but it's on repeat. It's just obnoxious. They're just obnoxious. Go away. Not you guys. I love you. Karmics can go away. What's everybody doing tonight? I just heard alopecia Reiki. Somebody might be dealing with some crown chakra issues or hair growth or loss. This should help with that. If it's an energy blockage, and otherwise, if there are solutions like health solutions or medical solutions that could also have to do with diet or stress in some cases, potentially. It could have a number of factors, and each case is different, I would imagine. But if it's a matter of finding the right practitioner or health program or something for you, this can help with that too. By practitioner, I mean even medical, a doctor specifically in that case. We hit it from all sides. Somebody says, what sides? Mind, body, spirit, the Trinity. Somebody says, how are you so wise? Life lessons, life experience, many lives. I also, when karmics get jealous of me, especially, sometimes it's because of how young I am in comparison to how elevated, like what my expansive gifts is, but I remember many, many lives, and what I can tell you is I didn't have all of these gifts in each of those lives. I had a couple at a time, and they varied from life to life, and so everything I have now and that I do now, I already mastered those gifts in other lives. It's why they came to me the way that they did, especially so young. I'd already mastered them. In some cases, taking more time to do so in other lives. So I didn't need to in this life. Right there, sitting there. You're only this old and you have all this stuff accomplished. I've been here for millennia. My soul is immortal. I'm a demigod. As a baseline. I just heard that. The goddess. If you want to pick a minimal and neutral title, comparatively speaking, I'm a demigod, and that is not a minimal or neutral title. It's just the most like baby one that I could pick. Because the other ones are much higher ranking. And I have those too. You see. But these people don't even want to take the steps it takes to master themselves, let alone earn and develop any proper gifts in this life, let alone any of the others. In fact, a lot of them came through this life and decided it was just more fun and comfortable and familiar to bully people in this life the same way that they did in previous lives. In some cases, they simply chased us from one life to the next. Let me give you an example. Empress Josephine was mistreated. Her children were kidnapped. She was abused in a variety of ways. She had her, basically was sold for an inheritance. And he wasn't just causing problems for her. This karmic was nicknamed the Terror King, not because he was kingly at all, because he tried to dominate and bully people like he was, but he was a tyrant. He was a terrorist to France. It was called the Reign of Terror, that era, because they were just going around brutalizing people, trying to overthrow the country. And I heard somebody say, sounds like Trump. I'm not disagreeing with you. He swears he has not read, what is it, Mein Kampf, which is, it's like Hitler's manifesto, but, and you know what? Maybe he hasn't, because I've picked up for a long time, many, many years ago, that Trump is a reincarnation of Hitler. That's why it's so dangerous. Same thing with the hiring of gang members and stuff. I'm like, they seem really nice. Yeah, that's the persona. You wouldn't hire them or let them close enough to you to take from you or hurt you if they were showing you their true colors from the jump, would you? You didn't think of that, did you? It's called covert abuse. Thank you. Now, again, toxic positivity, we don't do that here. Seek to stay on the upside of it, but when I have to shift to the the shadow side, the healer side, and deal with these types of people, oh, if you can dip into those lower or more protective energies, you must not be a light worker, which is also delusional. These are people who are thinking that, check your comments. Good. These are people who, what kind are you smoking? Curious. I hear Love You Bad by Pablo Preston, I think. Preston Pablo. These are people whose perception of a light worker is like Gandhi. And for those who do not know, Gandhi was said to be this very spiritual man. And I have some questionable things about Gandhi that a lot of people don't know about that I do, though. But anyway, moving aside from that for now, I'll stick to the basics. He would not hit back. Like, his whole thing was peace and nonviolence, and so people would often try to instigate a fight with him and physically attack him, and he would not fight back. Pacifist. And so their belief system is that if you are willing to defend yourself, then you must not be a light worker, and that's not it at all. Spiritual warfare is real. You don't think they're spiritual warriors? What do you think Archangel Michael is? It's part of the Justice League with Archangel Zadkiel and Uriel. You see. 11702. Cheers. If you are not capable of great harm, you are not a peaceful person. You're a harmless person. I am not harmless. I just choose to be peaceful. But it doesn't mean I won't rip that Band-Aid off and put you in your place. For starters. Cheers. I do not recommend barking up my tree. It's kind of like the choice to wake up on the right or wrong side of the bed. Yeah, make better choices. Also pick better role models, karmics. You know, Regina George got hit by a bus in the end of that one, right? Cheers. So there's that. That was strange. I heard that. It's 2 for 2 today, karmics, for people not being able to read or spell correctly. Didn't you wear that shirt yesterday? No. First of all, this is a women's cut shirt. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I was wearing Del Rey's shirt. Today I'm wearing his pants. I saw it coming in my hoodie with the plaid flannel. I bet on myself, yeah, I had to gamble. Feeling like I'm half goddess, half mammoth. Watch me turn my life into the Travel Channel. Won't be home, I'll be in Rome. So anyway. I just heard also taking back the throne. Yeah. Good one. Love you. I heard that. Are you just ad-libbing with angels? I'm listening, but yeah. They're very clever, you know. We're very clever. but it's important to use it for good purpose. It's also where these karmic people went wrong. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, you know? Just because you could use a spiritual gift for something dark doesn't mean you should. There are consequences that come with it. Could. Fuck around and find out. They did the hard way. But like I said, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Nor does it mean you will get away with it, even if it takes a bit to spiral back. There's some karmics, I wish I hadn't done that. I'm so sorry. And then there's another one. It's this karmic male. And he's the one who's recruited all these other ones. And I've been hearing it. He's doing that weird instigative thing. You know why? It's because he recruited all these idiots to go do his dirty work for him. And they're the ones who took the punches for it. So he's sitting there trying to recruit more of them now, or another attack. Because he feels, first of all, butthurt that his previous one didn't work. But also, they're the ones who took the kickback for it, mostly. More specifically, like, to the people that came and barked up my tree today, they're the ones who got the tongue lashing. The people who put themselves in my literal mailbox, an inbox, not some of the other karmics involved as much, including some of the ones who sent them. Yes, but no. They're both problematic. They're both guilty, especially on a collaborated effort. But he sits there and he whispers gossip and whatever things he thinks he needs to say to people to get them to be on his side or to agree to join in on his little instigation escapade with him or for him towards, let's say, a divine feminine or someone. And he whispers in their ear and he riles them all up and he gets a hate parade towards, let's say, a divine feminine going, but then he falls back because he doesn't want to be seen as the one who's involved, as the one who sent them. So when they get caught up for trying to throw a hate parade in divine feminine's face, even though he sent them, they're the ones front and center. So who do you think are the ones who take the hit and the heat of that? No, they all get karma on the backfire, but who do you think are the ones who get most of the lashing? The one that's kicking back behind the shadows, or the one that's doing the dirty work for them right out front and center where you can see them and call them straight the fuck out? Whether they thought they were hiding behind a little curtain or an anonymous envelope or not. It wasn't. You see. Why did we do that? She's too combative for us. You didn't think I could fight because I don't like to. You didn't think I could play the game because I don't like playing games. Little did you know that I'm much better at it than you are. I just choose not to play. Unless you want to play like that, and then you will lose in advance. Cheerio. I need this energy to shift right now. It's so garbage. I don't feel it. Yeah, I heard that. She really does. We don't like you. You need to go. I don't like people to come around. I don't like to let people around. And I certainly don't let people in my house that make me need to sage it when they leave. Or smudge or incense. You know what I mean? Incense when they leave. Something. No. Better just stay out there then. Not you made. There's abundance Reiki coming through. Much better. Do you see how that shifted all of a sudden? It's resetting my nervous system too. That's twice. It just shook out stuff that was stuck in there. Please feel free to stretch. I know a lot of times people lay down, but if you're comfortable standing or stretching or whatever, that's fine too. Oh, that's right. Okay, so I was picking up one of these plagiarizer energies. I was picking up some of the music mediumship that comes up when she does too. And then I'm picking up a download on that comment. I'm feeling it in the, yep, there it is. Solar plexus too, because she's been plagiarizing. So that's an attempted energy harvesting, solar plexus sacral energy. But I called her out for wearing the same dress like 3 times that week. And I mentioned that as a result of copying my content, like stealing from me, she has been seemingly getting brand deals or gifts sent from companies. One of them was a dress. And she posted for a few days wearing this dress. And then she put it back on again. The same, like the next day, to film another video. But it was weird. It wasn't like any of her other content, and it was like she was just looking for something, an excuse to post, but she was wearing the dress. So I called her out for all of this, and Divine Masculine's like, yeah, that's not kosher. That should be, if that's the case, going to you. And I'm just telling you what he said anyway on that one. But these karmics do this thing. If I say something, they try to do something retaliative. They'll either copy me more, or they'll do something spiteful. Or it's very weird, very petty. And I picked up in a reading that this would play out, but then she put on the same dirty dress because she just had to wear it again to show me, see, I'm wearing the dress and I'm getting brand deals and gifts from companies because I'm copying you. So weird. But I could see it. Like, her hair was all greasy and she looked desperate. To the point where she wore the same dress 3 times that week. Couldn't be me. No, to be very clear, because I'm picking up a cross channel, if there's somebody who's like going through a situation where they're homeless or something like that, I'm not shading that. That's a different situation. But this is not the case for this girl. She's trying to present herself as this fancy, well-off kind of a person, but she's doing grifty things to steal resources and energy from people to do it, and that's not okay. I think what's worse, you know what, Brittany Cosmic Intuitive Wifey, I really love her, said something, I think it was in the reading yesterday or today that she did, said something about like being popular and people being inspired or trying to emulate or something. And there are some people doing it because it's an innocent thing. They really do, like people copying their favorite celebrity, not the whole let me try to become you, become your doppelganger, become your clone, become your replacement type of a thing, but inspired, right? They just whatever. It's not malicious. But then there are some people where it's a toe stepping energy, and it is a different energy. I'm picking up a cross channel where sometimes I've noticed other readers will, if they've seen me posting, giving shout outs to readers that I know are legit and I do resonate with, like in the community board or something, they're super mad about this. They try to start copying. Like, let's say there's another reader, maybe a female reader, and I that do resonate. We are both divine feminine, we're on the same wave. Maybe we even pick up on a lot of the same stuff. I've seen karmic females try to pretend to be readers and pretend to be divine feminines, and then they copy the things that we're speaking and reading about, and they basically just summarize it in a little paragraph. I'll do a 3-hour reading and they'll take whatever couple little sentences, little clips of sentences out and smush it into a paragraph and say that they got a download or something. And some divine feminines really are connected and picking up sisterhood on the same wave, but there is a disturbance in the force energy. Their signatures, they don't match. Even people who try to cloak themselves, that doesn't work, not when you're dealing with an authentic and genuine person, because even if they tried to cloak themselves in someone's energy, the second it comes to them, that their energy's garbage. Look at what they're doing. There's no, I'm gonna send my energy off to someone else or transfer energies. But the second they try to take someone else's energy or swap or whatever, the action and behavior of trying to do that, the malice behind it, it's sour. It's like it will immediately poison that well. So even if they do think they're going to, like hocus pocus movie, siphon someone else's energy, the second it goes back to them or goes through them or goes to them, their own poor spirit taints it. There's just no like washing that off of them, you know? So anyway, there's a karmic who just said, there's nothing we can do to stop her now. Her last-ditched effort, that was their last-ditched effort. Also, there's something about this karmic male energy still trying to instigate or stir the pot. I've got one more trick up my sleeve. You're desperate. And he's not I don't think he's delusional. Like maybe a touch seems narcissistic to me. But what it actually seems more like is that he's scared. Yeah, he says, I don't want to go to prison. Oh. But you thought it was appropriate to try to have people falsely arrested, though? But you don't want to go to prison. But you want other people to go to jail, even when they don't belong there? Or don't deserve to be there? And this karmic male saying, they do deserve to be there. No. They do belong there. No. Divine feminine leaving you because you're toxic and abusive does not give you the right or justification to try to... I'm tasting bacon. What is that, a BLT? Interesting. Off the cuff. that came through. Spiritual tasting. Right, left with that. Went left. No pun intended. That's funny. I'm just going to leave it right there for now. The channel is getting ready to close up in a few minutes. I feel it. I hear it's not going to work. There's a karmic or fallen masculine who says to divine feminine, I shouldn't have left you. There are karmic females who know that they're in trouble, like legal trouble. No, he's a little bit delusional still. It's not entirely the tough guy act. Evil eye, yeah. See, someone envies you to the point of them not wanting you to succeed. Someone is trying to attack you spiritually, block your third eye and ability to manifest. Someone's casting love spells to win your love. I picked that up. Last night, I think. I mentioned that. That warlock energy. Speaking of demon magic, and that's what they were trying to play with, for sure. Pity party. Someone's going through tough times and they want you to experience the same. No, that's that projection. Vibe clearing. Incorporate a regular habit of using protection herbs, sage, Palo Santo. Sunshine magic. The light will be illuminated on your situation. What is done in the dark will come to light. And it says be careful because someone courting you or wanting to court you or date you is dealing with a lot of energetic burdens or entities or attachments, or this is them trying to send, oh yeah, that's where some of the spell work was coming through. In some cases he was doing love spells and like lust spells, infatuation spells to isolate divine feminine so she wouldn't be with anybody else, to try to make her want him or something, to he was being weird. Almost time for bed. But in other cases, this was like sending attacks at, let's say it's a fallen masculine, the real divine masculine, or the contracted divine masculine, because he wants this divine feminine for him. So it's one of those energies where they don't necessarily want to treat you right at all, but they don't want to let you go either, which is kind of equally as toxic, if you ask me, frankly. So there's that. Someone wants you to submit to them and allow them to have their way with you. It's that bully energy, and I posted that a few days ago. I also mentioned that they wanted to try to like boss you around and make you feel superior, and then I got that crap in the mail today. It's not working. Dream attacks. Health attacks. I'm not worried about the dream stuff. I got Archangel Michael. Demon attacks in reverse. See? But these people should be spooked. I hear they can't handle it. You're giving me hives. I'm allergic to your bullshit. ready for bed. Thank you. Crazy. I'm getting flashes still. Line by line, the angels are going down that garbage letter because each time there's a lie or issue or discrepancy, it's not hard to pin a piece of evidence to show that it is in fact a lie right next to it. What is that I'm hearing? Safe Inside by James Arthur. Thank you. No. I hear they don't like this truth. I Don't Listen to You by Delia Bond. Anyway. Oh, you know what's so funny too? I've been celibate for like 10 years. My husband died in 2016. And the people who've been after me, some of them this week, including one of the people involved in that letter, I've been running around in like a polygamy cult. So they're falsely attacking and accusing celibate divine feminines, like many year-long celibate divine feminines, of being promiscuous while they're sleeping around. Hypocrisy is not cute, dude. Divine Masculine says they just couldn't handle Pandora's box. They shouldn't have opened her. Never heard that. I want to see your library. I hear that song again. It's James Arthur. Safe Inside. It's very loud. It's very pretty. Thank you. I heard that too. Thank you. I heard that. What was that Black Bear movie? Pulling up with an emo chick that's broken. Oh, I like that you're broken like me. Maybe that makes me a fool. I like that you're lonely like me. I could be lonely with you. Something like that. I hear it. Okay. I'm going to do a quick chakra balance. Pull my foot back down though for this. Backwards. Thank you. I feel that. Thank you. Thanks, that was a nice one too. Okay, I'm going to drop the mic right there for now. Please remember to pray, do no harm, take no crap, and I will catch you on the next one. Blessings and namaste.